In the United States, tourism is a large industry that serves millions of international and domestic tourists every year. Foreigners visit the U.S. to see natural wonders, cities, historic landmarks, and many other entertainment sites. New York City, or NYC, is the most densely populated major city in the United States of America. One of the greatest cities in the world, New York is always a whirlwind of activity with famous sights at every turn and never enough time to see them all. Some people come here to enjoy the Broadway shows, others come specifically to shop and dine, and many come simply to see the sights: the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, Brooklyn Bridge, Central Park, and numerous world-famous museums. Many of the best places to visit in New York are within walking distance of each other or just a short ride away, making the city a delight for sightseeing and easier to move around. Here's a list of 5 best places to visit in New York City. Number 1. The Statue of Liberty. America's most iconic site, the Statue of Liberty, is at the top of every first-time visitor's list of things to do in New York. It is one of the world's largest statues, standing just under 152 feet tall from the base to the torch, and weighing approximately 450,000 pounds. You can see the statue from land, with particularly good views from Battery Park on the southern tip of Manhattan. However, to truly appreciate the Statue of Liberty, the best thing to do is to take a short boat trip to Liberty Island and see it up close. Number 2. Central Park. Central Park is an urban park in New York City, located between the Upper West and Upper East sides of Manhattan. It is the most visited urban park in the United States, with an estimated 42 million visitors annually, and is the most filmed location in the world. New York Central Park is a world-famous public park created beginning in 1858 to address the recreational needs of the rapidly growing city. Its original purpose was to offer urban dwellers an experience of the countryside, a place to escape from the stress of urban life and to commune with nature and fellow New Yorkers. The walk, pedal, or carriage ride through the pathways of Central Park is a must-do on anyone's New York City itinerary. In winter, especially for skiing lovers, you can even lace up your skates and glide across Woolman Rink. This huge park in the city center is one of the things that makes New York such a beautiful and livable city. Besides being a great place to experience life in nature, Central Park has many attractions within its borders, and most of them are free, making it one of the few cheap things to do in New York City. Some of the most popular places to visit include the Bella Verde Castle, Strawberry Fields, the Central Park Zoo, and the lake. If you are exploring the park on your own, start by picking up a map at one of the visitor centers and plot your route. Central Park is traversed by a system of roads and walkways and is served by public transportation. Its size and cultural position make it a model for the world's urban parks. Its influence earned Central Park the designation of a National Historic Landmark in 1963. Amazingly, over 150 years later, the park still provides this essential purpose and welcomes all visitors while accommodating newer forms of recreational activities. With 42 million visits a year, Central Park is one of the most visited urban parks in the U.S. and one of the most popular destinations in New York City. Number 3. Broadway and the Theater District. Are you a fan of art and theaters? Well, if you care about acting and watching plays in theaters, no doubt Broadway is your place to visit. It's where many Hollywood stars and celebrities started their career, so it's not going to be surprising if you accidentally run into one of your favorite celebrities and Hollywood actors or actresses while you're there. Broadway is a boulevard full of famous theaters where visitors from all over the world gather to watch the top musicals of the season and other great plays. The avenue is also famous for being the only street that runs through Manhattan at an oblique angle. Broadway is one of New York's most famous avenues, known as the heart of the American theater industry, since it is the only oblique street that crosses the city center. Attending a Broadway show is one of the top things to do in New York City. Considered the pinnacle of American theater, this is the place to see the latest shows and the long-running classics. Broadway usually refers simply to Broadway theater, which encompasses a large number of theater venues in the theater district and along the street of Broadway. For the most popular shows, tickets should be purchased well in advance. Historically, aspiring actors would frequently look for opportunities to perform a play in one of the available theaters there to achieve their dream and be one of Hollywood's filmmaking staff. Number 4. Times Square. Lined with the huge, brilliantly lit billboards and screens, Times Square is the place to go in New York in the evening, but still exciting at any time of the day. This is the location of New York's New Year's Eve celebrations and the famous ball drop at midnight when the square and surrounding streets are filled with people. If you've had enough sitting on the bleachers and are looking for something fun to do, either as a group or as a couple in your trip, stroll over to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Number 5. Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge, with its Gothic-shaped arches and suspension cables, is one of the city's most recognizable landmarks and has inspired generations of poets, songwriters, painters, and even filmmakers. This historic bridge, covering the East River from Manhattan to Brooklyn, was completed in 1883 and was the world's first steel suspension bridge. You can also ride one of the ferries to enjoy the sightseeing and look at the bridge or from the east side of Manhattan, but the best way to get a better experience is to take an hour and walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. From the bridge, you can see beautiful views over Manhattan, the East River, and beyond the Statue of Liberty. Biking over the bridge is another option, but pedestrian traffic is often very heavy, and cycling can be slow and challenging on busy days. Don't forget to take your camera to capture these exceptional and unforgettable moments.